Okay, so I'm Mr. Brooke. I'm going to be taking over setting your work from now until the end of year 10. Some of you will probably be teaching your class next year, and excited to start working with you as we move into year 11. So, what is going to be happening now is we're going to make a transition from largely going over work that you've seen before and been reviewing and making sure we're really, really solid on that work, to now making a start on covering some new content. So the way this is going to work is it's largely going to be you working through this video. There's going to be certain points where you need to stop the video and have a quick go at a question, then we'll go over the answer together. There's going to be some points where you pause it for longer and have a go at some worksheet questions. The first thing you need to do is have a go at the do now questions. To start off by doing them if you haven't done already. Have a go at those, mark those, and then come back to this video and make a start on the main content. One thing that I'll talk about a bit later, which is really, really important, is quite regularly we're going to finish the lesson by having some exit questions for you to have a go at doing. And they're just for me to get a gauge on how well you have completed the work and how well you've understood what we've been doing in that lesson. So it's really, really important that you make sure you have a go at those and submit them. Shouldn't take you a huge amount of time, not as long as sort of a normal homework or anything like that. But it's just for me to sort of get a gauge for whether or not we're ready to move on to the next part of the work. So the more of you that are able to submit those, the better it's going to be in terms of the work and teaching that I'm doing for you. Okay, so we're going to make a start on looking at sets and set notation today. What we are going to need to start off doing is looking at how we define what a set is and what sort of special notation we're going to use to help us with that. The set is basically a group of elements that we want to define in a certain way. So in this first one, we've got all of the even numbers that are between 0 and 10. So we're going to call that Q, and it's going to be the numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8. And we're going to use these curly brackets here to show that we're talking about a set. Sets and elements within them doesn't just have to be numbers. On this example, we've got R, which is a set of all vowels in the alphabet. So we've got A, E, I, O, and U. Again, we're going to call this set R. And a little bit later on in this lesson, we're going to look at what happens where we've got two different sets in different ways that we can represent and use specific notation to put those two sets together. Now, down the bottom here, we've got a question, let R be the set of odd numbers that are less than 12. So I'd like you to have a go at doing is to just pause the video for however long you need and have a go at writing out what you think the set X is going to look like using exactly the same notation that we've got above. So if you pause the video for me now. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at that, and we'll just have a quick look at the answer. So we've got the set X is the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And we've got these curly brackets using the exact same notation that we were using before. Again, we're going to have a look at another question here. So which of the following is the set of odd whole numbers less than 10? So we've got the set D, C, D, and E. So I'd like you just to spend 30 seconds having a look at those. Which is the set of odd numbers less than 10? Okay, so hopefully you've managed to have a look at this and we've identified that it is E that is a set of whole numbers that are less than 10. Okay, so we're going to look at another new symbol now. So this symbol represents the universal set. The universal set is just the list of all of the elements that we're going to be using within the particular question or problem that we're working with. So for example, we've got this set of numbers, our universal set is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we're only going to be using those 9 numbers and no other numbers at all. So when we look at the set A, which is a set of all even numbers, we're only going to be looking at the numbers 2, 4, 6, and 8 because they're the only even numbers that appear in our universal set. So we're not going to be using numbers, say 10, 12, 14, even though they are even numbers, because they're not within our universal set. So I'd like you to have a go at doing now is writing down what the set B would look like, which is just going to be the set of all odd numbers. So if you just pause the video, write down the set, and then press play again. Okay, so hopefully we've managed to get B written down, and we should have something that looks like this. So we've got the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and we're using our curly bracket set notation like we've been doing before. Now, next, we're going to look at the final thing before we go on and doing a little bit of work from the worksheet. We've got A prime or A complement, and we're sort of using this notation up here to denote A complement. And basically, that is the set of all numbers that are not in A. So here we've got our universal set as the numbers from 1 to 14. And we're saying A is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So A prime or A complement is any number that is not in A, but that is also in our universal set. So A complement is going to be 4, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So like we've been doing recently, we've got another example down the bottom here. So we've got B is a set of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 14. What I'd like you to do is write down the complement of B. So again, pause the video. When you've written it down, play again, and we'll have a look at the answer. Okay, so we should have B complement as being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So what I'd like you to have a go at doing now is go onto the worksheet and have a look at task 1, which is going to be doing some problems linked really closely to the work that we've just been doing on the last 5 or 6 slides that we've been looking at. When you've had a go at doing that worksheet, come back to the video, press play again, and we'll carry on looking at the next part of today's lesson. Okay, so we're now going to look at how we can use our set notation and we can represent these sort of using pictures, which we're going to call Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams is things you might have seen before, but linking it in with our work on set notation is just going to make that a little bit harder. What we'll do in lessons in the future is we'll bring into working with probabilities and Venn diagrams as well, which will make it a little bit more complicated again. So a Venn diagram is simply a box with circles in it. So we've got something that looks like this. Quite often though, however, we will have our two circles will be overlapping. That will be representing things that are in both of our two sets. So what does it mean? Well, how can we use this? So we are going to have this here. So we've got the sets A, we've got the sets B, we've got the Venn diagram below. So you can see set A is 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we've got all of those numbers are in this circle here representing A. We've got B is 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9, which is in this circle here. Now you'll notice 4 and 7 is in both of our lists. So 4 and 7 goes in this middle bit, the overlap of our two circles, and this is what we call the intersection of our two sets. So what I'd like us to have a go at doing now is have a go at going the other way of this as well. So we've got in here set A, what numbers or what elements are going to be in set A? So we've got 1, 3, 4 from the middle part just here, 5, 6, and 7. Now the same thing for B. B would be this circle here. We've done in orange this time. We've got 2, 4 from the intersection, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so what I would like you guys to have a go at doing is have a go writing down the list of all of the elements in set A and a list of all of the elements in set B. So if you just pause the video and press play when you are ready to start again. So hopefully we have got for A the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. And for B, we should have 1, 4, 5, 8, and 9. So there are two different sets there. Okay. Okay, so we've got one final example to look at, and then we're going to go into section 2 of the worksheet. this time you'll notice we're told what the universal set is. The universal set is the numbers between 1 and 9, and this box around the outside represents everything within our universal set. You'll see we've got A is 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7. We've got B is 2, 4, 5, and 7 and 8. So we've got 4 and 7 that's in both. We'll put in the rest of the numbers for A, so 1, 3, and 6. And we'll put in the rest of the numbers for 5 and 8. Now you'll notice that we haven't included 2 or 9 anywhere in A or B. So 2 or 9 are in the universal set, but not in A or B, so they have to go on the outside, but within this box here. So what can be quite useful as you're writing your numbers in is to tick them off or cross them off from a universal set. So when you've done all of the numbers for A and B, you can then see what you've got left to write on the outside of your two circles for your Venn diagram. So what I'd like you to do now is to have a go at answering the questions on section 2. Very similar to the example we've just done here. You're going to need to draw yourself out the boxes and the circles and have a go at filling them in. Great, thanks a lot. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now that we've finished all of the main work for today's lesson is a little thing to finish off so I can see how you've got on with today's lesson and inform what we're going to go on to in the next one. So normally this would be me walking around at the end of the lesson just sort of getting a feel for how you've got on, but obviously I can't do that. So I just need you to submit couple of questions just so I can gauge what we're ready to move on with next lesson. So if you could just now have a quick look at the exit questions at the end of the worksheet and look at the instructions on show my homework and submit them to me so I can see how you've got on. Now generally it isn't going to be that you get lots and lots of detailed feedback on these. If you've got them right, you probably won't get any feedback at all. If you've made some clear mistakes, I'll try and give you some individual feedback. But generally, it's more just for me to have a quick look at how you've got on and then inform my planning for the next lesson. So don't worry, particularly if you don't hear a huge amount back, probably means that you have done really well with these questions and we're ready to move on to the next lesson. So thank you for all of your hard work today. Hopefully you found this useful and are looking forward to our next lesson again tomorrow. Thanks a lot.